Hello. What I want to show in this video is a spelling practice workbook I created for my son who's due to take his 11 plus tests next year. The ePattern for which is available from lulu.com or the iBook store, and then to demonstrate how new word lists can be added to it. The video about ePatterns explains how to use the EPUB books with Adobe Digital Editions and a spreadsheet application to copy the formulas and functions and create something useful. Here we can see a completed spreadsheet with different pages serving different purposes. The spelling practice workbook was designed along the lines of the copy, learn, test method used in British schools for spelling literacy. But because I didn't have as much time as I wanted to sit down and help my son achieve this, I converted that idea into this system, whereby each week I type the list of words in, and by setting the date, a different list will be pulled up for him to practice with.
She shot him an unfriendly glance. U N F R I E N D L Y.
On this page, this is where they can now hear the sound, so it's the equivalent of the learning. They've still got some backup because they can click on the cell with a number above to hear which letter should be being entered, but it's practicing as they would. When the word is correctly entered because of conditional formatting, that cell turns green. I'm showing here for brevity, just whizzing through on the top word. Normally you have a list of about 20 words and you could work through all of those. This is reinforcing what they already know. At this stage, there's no longer an indication of how many letters are in the sound or the word that they've just heard, but by now they should be a little bit more confident. Again, if they click on the cell just above, they will hear the sound. So if they click on the cell and there's no sound, then there shouldn't be a letter in that cell. It turns green again. By changing the date in cell A1 there, you can see on the left-hand side there's a range of dates relevant to which word list I've entered. You then move back to the Learn page and you can see all the words have changed. New set of words. Click on the column name there, number, the row number, to delete what was previously entered. And then you can click on the definition, click on the example, and enter the new words into the cells. This is an example of some of the words we've had through the year. I've now got a new list that I've just entered, and what I have to do now is to create a definition that's going to mean something to my son. It's all very well putting in what the dictionary says, but if it doesn't mean anything to him, it's not going to help him with learning and with retention of those words. This is possibly the most time-consuming part of recreating it, but it's quite good fun. And I normally sit with a laptop or something watching telly or listening to the radio while I'm doing it. I did try to get my son to sit down and go through the dictionary with me, but he wasn't having any of that. Because this can take quite a long time, I'm going to fast forward a bit and complete these cells. sometimes when the words have more than one meaning, again, one of the strengths of this I've found is that although there's lots and lots of spelling tutorials you can get from the internet, because you can make it relevant to your particular child, I found that a great benefit when I've been trying to encourage his academic career, for what it's worth. And then I put an example in. Again, I try to do something that is meaningful to him, something that's happened in the family, his sister or the cat or whatever. And this actually I find quite easy to do. I tend to do it in this order rather than do the definition and then do the example, because if you get a little story going as you're going down through these examples for the words, it can be completed much, much quicker than trying to think of individual standalone examples. And there you see I've completed everything. And we can move on to recording. I describe in the ePattern ebook how to go about recording the words. This is just showing what exactly is happening. Essentially on that first sheet you saw, the register, you decide what extension you want to give to the definition, what extension you want to give to the example, and then you record those words. So for example, I can't see here, say we've got a pose, so you would save a pose with the file name oppose. When you came to read out the definition, you would save that file as oppose mng. When you save the example, it would be oppose eg. And that's because of the suffixes that you set up in the register sheet. If you want to call it something else, then that's fine. You just change those suffixes and the spreadsheet itself will automatically update. Again, this doesn't take that long, but longer than probably you want to sit and watch me typing them all in. So I'm going to fast forward again till I've got all of the words, all of the definitions, and all of the examples in there. And then what I like to do is to, in this instance with this application, is to create an email, send all of those individual files by email by selecting the bottom one, scrolling to the top, holding down the shift key and click again, and that will select all of those attachments which will then be copied into the email. On my computer that takes quite a long time to start up, so I've skipped, and you can see here I'm selecting which folder I want to save all those attachments in, and selecting that. There's all the others I had previously, and then you can close down the email. And then for the fun bit, this is an example of how, having entered the formulae in just one row, you can then copy them and paste them, Control-C to copy, Control-V select and Control-V to paste, and you will automatically have your worksheet doing what it's meant to be doing, which is creating a hyperlink to the sound file of those words, of those definitions, and of those examples that you created just now. I click on the cell next to the hyperlink and then use the cursor keys to move into the cell with the hyperlink, because otherwise it's got a habit of playing the WAV files, which can be irritating. Except when you want the WAV files to play, that is, as you can see here. Using Windows Media with the visualization on so that the file name is hidden, but you can see that the sound waves there when a sound file is played. There's lots of different versions of Windows Media Player, and there's slightly different permutations on how to get it into that position. If you have any problems with it, please contact me and I'll try and work out what you need to do. Don't forget to save your file with a new name or a version number, just in case anything goes wrong and you need to go back to a previous version. Then, next, we have to add a reference to the new list in the register sheet. This is going to be adding the date associated with that word list. We could use other references, but for the sake of this book, I've just used dates. A meaningful comment to you. It's not used anywhere else, but after you've got a few dozen lists, it will get complicated. And then copy and paste the row above into that one to get the appropriate references. Control-C to copy, Control-V to paste, and you're ready to get your child practicing. Change the label spell date in cell A1, and we're ready to go. Oppose. Disagree with and attempt to prevent, especially by argument. She knew Mum would oppose her plans for the holidays. And it really is as simple as all that. I think I've covered everything. I appreciate that when people first see this, it does look incredibly complicated, but what I hope I've managed to demonstrate here is that by setting up 5 sheets with sets of formula in the top row and then copying and pasting those into all the others, I've used 20 here, but there's no reason why you shouldn't do more if you think that's appropriate for your child. And then having that word list sheet where you can just reference a group of words by a date and then pull them up individually. It just provides a kind of hassle, in our household it provides a hassle-free way of providing the iteration needed to keep at these words, the definitions, what they mean, how they use them. And it's certainly a lot more enjoyable than sitting staring at each other across a dining room table. I hope you'll find it useful. I've got the Facebook page. I'm more than happy to help out with problems you might have with the spreadsheets or ideas that you want to do other things with. Be in touch. Thank you.